Hey everyone, hope you're having an amazing week. We wanted to jump on today and just give more service and give more value to our community. I know that most of us are still working from home, even though places are opening up. And this is a time that we can maybe study a little bit, learn new things to help our families. And so in today's Facebook Live, we're going to talk about the number one reason why your living trust won't work. But the good news is we're going to show you how you can fix it today. So let me pull up my slides to make it easy to follow. So here it is, the number one reason your living trust won't work and how you can fix it today. So this video is for people who either already have a living trust and want to make sure that it's going to work, or you're considering a living trust and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I set one up? Like, what's the process? What are some mistakes that I need to look out for so that when my family needs it most, it's going to work? So as most of you know, a living trust is used to pass on your assets to your family without hassle, without going to probate court. So it's going to save your family a lot of time, a lot of money, and we'll show you how much it might cost your family. And one of the biggest issues is we have to do it right. There's a lot of strict rules, strict laws when it comes to living trusts. The state loves to find any excuse to take your family to probate court. So we want to make sure that you do it right. So, like I said, most people think that by creating a living trust, they automatically avoid probate court. That's not true. Setting up your trust, signing it, writing it nicely, that's just the first step. What a lot of people miss is the next step, which is funding your living trust. And so we'll go into what that means later today. But first, I wanted to kind of express the reason why people need to avoid probate court. It's very expensive. As most of you will see, we're going to show you a chart that shows you how expensive probate is. For the average family who owns a home, you'll see that probate is going to cost over $34,000. So we'll show you that chart. And we also want to express how long it takes for your children to receive their inheritance if they can't avoid probate court. Right now, it usually takes over a year in California, especially in Los Angeles, and it's going to take even longer now. There's tons of delays in probate court because the courts have been shut down for a couple months. So you want to help your family avoid probate court so they don't sit in court for over a year. And probate is very public. All your family members, friends, strangers will know how much you own. They'll also know the contact information and phone numbers and everything about your family members. And so you want to avoid probate and make the inheritance process private. And another thing is, it causes a lot of emotional distress. Just imagine something happens to you and your family, your spouse, your children, they're grieving over your loss. And rather than having the space to celebrate your lives and to move on with their lives, they are stuck in probate court trying to get their inheritance for over a year. And so it caused a lot of emotional distress. It caused a lot of family fighting. A lot of families go into a lot of arguments. Some of them sue each other to get what you left behind. So you want to make sure that you avoid probate. And so today we're going to show you why a lot of families forget to do the most important part of setting up their trust, which is funding the trust. So again, the goal for this video is we're going to show you what is trust funding and why it's important. We're also going to show you how doing it wrong will be a $34,000 mistake. And the third thing is we're going to show you how to correctly fund your living trust to avoid probate completely and save your family $34,000 or more. So just a little bit of background of who we are. I'm here with my partners, Jennifer and Cindy. We're the attorneys at Amity Law Group. We focus on estate planning and probate, and so we help families protect their assets and make sure that the inheritance process can be as smooth as possible. And right now, because of the pandemic, we're still open. We're open virtually though, and so we're meeting with clients by phone, by video conference. So if you'd like to schedule a free phone consultation with us, we would be happy to see how we can help you. So Jennifer, can you share with us, actually, you know what? I think this is my part. So what is trust funding and why is it important? Like I mentioned earlier, funding a living trust is very important. And what that means is taking assets that you own right now as your individual self and you retitle it into the name of your trust. So think of a living trust like a company, a corporation, an LLC, holding assets on your behalf. While you're alive, you are a 100% owner of your living trust and whatever you put inside. You can sell the properties, you can transfer the properties, you can do whatever you want with the properties. But the most important part is the funding part. You must retitle your house and your financial accounts into your living trust for your living trust to work. Because the rule is whatever properties you own that is outside of the trust, that remains in your individual name, those assets like your house, financial accounts with a lot of money in it, those assets will have to go through probate court. So if you do it incorrectly, your assets will end up in probate court and costing your family tens of thousands of dollars. So that is funding, and that's why it's so important. So Jennifer, can you share with us how doing it wrong can be a $34,000 mistake?
Sure. So like Edmund said, if you have your trust done and you have real property and financial accounts that you need to make sure basically that they're not outside of your living trust. So those assets that you do not or you fail to retitle or rename into the living trust will have to go through probate court. And so it really defeats the whole purpose of setting up the trust, because those assets that you fail to fund into basically end up going through probate. And so let us show you the shocking costs right now that probate will result in. The costs on average, we always say $34,000 because, in Los Angeles, California in general, any sort of house that you may own on average is really maybe like $700,000. But if you look on this chart, we have highlighted a few kind of key numbers. If you basically did a trust, but you left out those assets and did not fund them into your trust, and they consisted of assets worth $500,000, your heirs will have to go through probate, and the minimum probate fees for $500,000 estate is $26,000, and that includes fees to a probate attorney, fees to personal representatives, and that's just the minimum probate fees. You're talking about additional fees to the court. There's probably a probate referee that has to be paid for appraising your property. So there's a lot of fees that you have to be concerned about. This $26,000 probate fee for a $500,000 estate. Let's say you left out something that's worth $1 million, and that's on fair market value. So it's based on the date of death, the date when you passed away. If your property is worth $1 million, your minimum probate fee is going to be $46,000. Again, a minimum fee. And so as you can see, probate costs, they're really based on a percentage of the value of your asset. So as the higher, the asset level that you leave, they're going to calculate it based on that fair market value. So how an extra $34,000 can help your family. What can you do with $34,000? You can do a lot, right? We can pay for college tuition for our grandchildren, perhaps help with a down payment of your children's new house, and even give them, some money to start a business. Having your living trust done correctly and making sure that it's funded correctly is really, really essential to just ensuring that you minimize these costs, and most of it will hopefully go to your family members. And just to point out, probate is a $6 billion a year industry. This is why family wealth gets lost, from one generation to the next. So by having your living trust set up correctly, you protect your family's wealth and ensure that, most of it will trickle down to your children and your heirs instead of having to pay for fees that you can avoid. And so I think now Cindy's going to share with you, what are the steps to correctly fund your living trust and basically save your money, a lot of money.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. So it's a big problem, not funding your trust. So let's go over how to actually do this, how to transfer some of these assets. So one of your biggest assets is probably going to be your home. And you want to know how to transfer your house into your living trust the correct way. Some people will say how to fund it, how to fund your trust with your house, or how to transfer your property into your trust. So first, the wrong way. The absolutely number one wrong way to do this is not listing your house in your living trust. This happens a lot when clients will show us estate plan documents that they did themselves or that they pulled off the internet or something. And of course, it's not going to be personalized. Of course, it's not going to be have any of your information in there. So your home is not going to be listed in there, which is a big problem. Another big problem is not recording a new deed to change the title from your individual name to your living trust. So if you didn't see a deed, if you didn't notarize, if you didn't go to a notary during this estate planning process, you probably did it wrong, and you probably didn't transfer your house. Most likely did not transfer your house into your trust if you didn't go to a notary to complete the transfer. Another scenario is incorrectly naming your living trust on your deed. So it's really essential that these documents are done correctly, just in the living trust documents, your estate plan documents, but also the deed itself, how it's drafted. You want to make sure that that's done correctly, and then not filling out the right documents to avoid reassessment of property taxes. That's a big issue. So at Amity, we show you the right way. We take care of it for you. Number one, we always make sure that your house is listed in a schedule of assets that's attached to your living trust to show that you have the intent to put it into your living trust. Not only do we show the intent to actually complete the transfer by recording a new deed to transfer your house into the living trust, we make sure that the exact legal name of your living trust is on the new deed and is drafted correctly. And also make sure that we record a preliminary change of ownership report when you need your deed to avoid reassessment of property tax or the exclusion of reassessment. So those are important things that you want to do the right way. The other huge asset you want to make sure is correct your trust is your bank account. So the absolute wrong way is not listing your bank account into your living trust, not retitling your accounts into your living trust, and not updating the pay on death or transfer on death beneficiary documents with your custodian. So the right way to do this is to list your bank accounts. And I know a lot of clients have this issue where they are moving accounts a lot because they're taking advantage of the new account deals, bonus accounts, cash accounts. or they are taking advantage of the interest rates for certain savings accounts. And they don't think it's going to be a permanent account, but just list it anyways. You can always remove it. You can always cross it out. Just list out any accounts that you are currently using that you know has assets in the account, and list it in your estate planning documents to make sure that if anything were to happen to you at any point in time, those accounts are going to be a part of your trust. The other thing is, make sure you go to the bank and change the owner of your bank account from your individual name to your living trust. So that is, if you want to make sure, absolutely sure that these accounts are in the trust, is make sure that it's titled to the trust. The other way to fund the bank account into your living trust is to name your trust as your beneficiary, or make sure that you've also removed any of these pay on death or transfer on death beneficiaries in the event that you've already named the living trust as your as the owner of the account. Big warning is, if you're doing it yourself or your attorney did not help you fund your living trust, then in our experience, your assets will likely go to probate court, and your family will likely pay over $34,000 to get their inheritance, because that's how much probate typically, on average, costs in California.
So I think the message today really is, be sure to work with an attorney who's going to assist you in the funding process. For us at Amity, we make sure that we correctly retitle your house, we correctly retitle your financial account, and make sure that your pay on death beneficiaries on your financial institution accounts are updated. And make sure that we correctly change any beneficiaries on your life insurance policies. So we make sure that, as attorneys, we are responsible for making sure that your trust will work, so it doesn't defeat the purpose of why you created the trust. We fund your trust correctly.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what Jennifer just mentioned, we noticed that the traditional way of doing estate planning, setting up living trusts, was completely broken, because this is the reason why the probate industry is a growing industry. It's now a $6 billion industry a year. So every year, $6 billion of money of families are being lost, are being transferred not to their children and not to their family members, but to strangers that are in the probate business. Probate attorneys, the court system, they're probably paying excess taxes. And so you want to make sure that you do it right. And so here at our law firm, we noticed that problem. And so we provide a lot of assistance that most firms don't. So number one, we help you with the funding process. We make sure that we check up on the deeds to make sure it's recorded correctly. We make sure that your bank accounts are transferred correctly. Like Jennifer mentioned, life insurance is also very important. A lot of people forget that. Bank accounts, I just mentioned, people's ex-wives are their pay on death beneficiaries. And so if you pass away, your wife might not even get your money. Your children might not get your money. It could go to your ex-wife because you didn't update your pay on death beneficiary for over 10, 20 years. People forget. It's definitely not your fault. But those are little things that's going to make a difference between keeping more money in your family and your children losing a big chunk of their inheritance. And so doing it right is the absolute priority for us at our law firm. And so that's why we provide funding assistance to all of our clients. And another thing we provide is free annual reviews. Laws change, your financial situation change, your family changes. And so you want to make sure you're looking at your plan every single year. So as a client, you can give us a call every year to let us know what has changed. And if there's any changes we need to make, then we'll make it. So you want to make sure you review your plan every year with an attorney, so your living trust works when your family needs it most. And so if you're ready to set up a living trust that's going to take care of your family, protect your family's wealth, then we invite you to a free consultation, so we can show you the best estate planning options for your family situation. Every family is different. I know a lot of clients, they come to us and say, oh, our family is a typical family. But once we start talking to them about the issues, we start educating them about some of the things that they need to look out for, then suddenly they're not so average. They're very special. So we really customize every one of our plans to fit the special needs of our clients. So if you have any questions, again, we invite you to schedule a free consultation with us. Let me check if there's anyone who typed the question. Nope. All right, I'm gonna switch back the camera to us. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday. If you, again, have any questions, we would love to answer for you. Anything else we want to talk about, guys?
No.
All right, enjoy this beautiful evening with your family. Continue to stay safe as our beautiful state of California starts opening up our shops and everything. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in our next Ask Ambi show.